Another year, another baby banner, and this year it is for Fire Emblem Fates. So we saw the silhouettes, and it was pretty much confirmed it was Fates. It was just a matter of who's going to be on the banner, who's going to be the free unit, and who's going to be the demote. And the first unit is actually Leo, who, has been a Grail unit before and also could have been a demote, because I feel like he usually gets the short end of the stick, but this time he is a premium Red Mage Cavalier, just like his base version, but he's had different versions before, like his I think it was his Valentine version, that was a bow unit. And this Leo is, he's decked out right out the gate. You don't have to really give him any skills. I mean, you definitely can, but every single slot is filled up already. So Toma Dusk is his weapon, enables Kanto remaining minimum 1 -1 cooldown if a rally or movement assist is used by unit, grants another action to unit, so he's bringing some of that Crom cheese, so he's going to be a little bit annoying with that. And threatening, of course. And after unit acts, if Kanto triggers after Kanto, grants special cooldown count -1 to himself. And also if the number of times unit has acted, okay, here we go, on the current turn, not counting Kanto, less than or greater than 2, for foes with res less than units, res +5, triggers the following effects based on the foe's position. Okay, this is a crazy complicated condition. So based on the number of movements he's acted in the turn, based on the foe's res check, based on the foe's position. If foe is within 3 rows, 3 columns centered on unit, inflicts attack res -7 and sabotage on the foe. So, that's pretty standard. Sabotage is pretty common nowadays, I feel like. And if foe is in cardinal directions of unit, inflicts gravity on the foe. All effects are inflicted through foe's next action. So gravity, I think he's had that before on his green bow version. So, it's in line with what he's had before, but sabotage I think is new. So nice 2 effects that can really cripple the foe. At the start of combat, if he's alive, grants bonus to all of his stats equal to the number of foes within 3 rows, 3 columns centered on him, times 3 plus 5, maximum 14, deals true damage 20% of his res, and also has the damage reduction halving / piercing by 50%. So really nice supportive weapon with the ability to move again, which is going to be annoying for sure if you're facing him. Reposition, Blazing Thunder for the AoE nuking, because he can trigger really easily thanks to his weapon. I guess he'll still have to, watch out for scowl effects. He doesn't have the special jump built in, but overall he can trigger this relatively easily. Crystalline Water to maximize his attack and res, and then he's going to have low defense, and also neutralize panic effects on him. And attack res detect. This is the attack res version. We saw speed defense detect, I think, already. And this one inflicts attack res -4 on the foe during combat, of course. And if it works perfectly with his assist. So if he uses that, he inflicts exposure on the closest foes within 5 spaces of both unit and target, and ally or unit and targeting ally after movement, and foes within 2 spaces of those foes through the next actions. And inflicts attack res -5 on the foes on the map with the exposure effect active, and neutralizes those buffs to attack and res. So this is just perfect with his AoE, nuking playstyle, and exposure is going to make him hit really, really hard. And then he comes with attack, res, incite, hone, which is great to give him incited for even more stats, and also give it to his teammates. So, I mean, Leo's a pretty straightforward nuke. He's nothing new, like super crazy new, but for Leo fans, you're definitely winning with this one, because he's going to hit extremely hard and, have the ability to move after he assists, which not everybody gets to have that. It's usually Crom and Lucina that get that, so Leo joining in on the cheese. So that is young Leo. Next up is his sister Camilla, young Camilla, the young beauty, and in her voice line, she says, my father... she says, my father wants me to be cruel to my enemies. So she's already learning that kind of tendencies at a young age, which is crazy. So she comes with Trample. Trample's a skill from Fire Emblem Fates. I recognize that icon. We'll get to that. But Axe of Dusk is her weapon. Enables Kanto distant +1 maximum 4, -1 cooldown to start a player phase or enemy phase, and inflicts speed defense -7, discord, and deep wounds on the foes that are within 2 spaces of another foe through the next action. So, more negative effects, which are going to be really annoying. If unit initiates combat, or if the foe's HP is greater than or equal to 75% at the start of combat, grants bonus to all your stats equal to the number of foes within 3 rows, 3 columns centered on unit, times 3 plus 5, maximum 14. So the same as Leo's condition, but she gets the +Y flat damage output. Y equals the total number of bonuses and penalties active on the foe, and any foe within 2 spaces of the foe, excluding stat bonuses and stat penalties, times 3, excluding AoE. So this is going to be really easy to get, because she already inflicts 2 status effects, deep wounds and discord on the foe, and that's going to give her the massive damage boost. And then any kind of bonuses they have are going to be used against them. and grants special cooldown charge +1 to unit per attack. And also, if decreasing the speed difference necessary to make follow-up attack by 25 would allow unit to make a follow-up attack, you trigger the potent follow X. If unit cannot perform a follow-up attack or an attack twice, X equals 80, otherwise 40. So, Camilla here can get 3 hits, hit extremely hard, and also inflict discord and deep wounds. So she's going to be a really solid axe flyer that can tank bust. No quarter to pierce through, damage reduction, and then trample. So trample and fates, I think what it did was just deal +5 true damage or extra damage to unmounted units, I think. So this is going to be emulating that. So if unit initiates combat or a foe's HP is greater than equal 75% HP at the start of combat, grants attack speed +7 to unit during combat. And also if a foe is infantry or armored, so yeah, they're unmounted, or if any space within 2 spaces of unit has a Divine Vein effect applied or counts as difficult terrain, excluding impassable terrain, grants an additional attack speed +3 unit, and unit deals the +5 true damage, like I mentioned in Fates, during combat. And if unit initiates combat, you can make a follow-up attack before foe's next attack, so you get a little bit of that desperation, I think. So this is a really pretty stacked skill. Let me just double check that trample did that in Fates. +5, yeah, so +5 damage dealt to non-mounted enemies, so that's what it does here as well. So yeah, trample, I think, is that going to be inheritable? It has the yellow border, so I think it's inheritable. Tut Tut is her B skill. I don't know if that's a Camilla reference to something. I don't know. I don't really know my Camilla lore. I'm not really a big fan of her, but Tut Tut is her weapon, or not her weapon, sorry. Weapons in the icon. This is her PRFB. Unit can move through foe spaces. Oh boy. Okay, so she has pass built in. So just like, Emblem Celica and Legendary Shez, she joins in the party, although she is a melee unit, but still this is going to be incredibly powerful because you cannot stop this with Gatekeeper or Lower Ground or Dragon or High Dragon Wall. So fun for everyone. Unit can move to a space within 2 spaces of any ally within 2 spaces of unit. Unit can move to a space within 5 spaces where a Divine Vein effect is applied. And this is, fitting for Camilla because she introduced Deadly Miasma to the game, and then in Engage she also has, the Divine Vein effect and stuff like that. And of course, I think in Fate she can also activate those, so it makes sense. At start of turn, if she's alive, grants attack speed +6 and the reduced percentage of foes so she has DR piercing by 50%, similar to her legendary version, to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. At the start of turn, if they're alive, after start of turn and healing and damage effects are applied, applies Divine Vein Haze on the closest foes. So this is not even she already just inflicts this without having to initiate, so you don't have to run the Deadly Miasma. So she applies that on closest foes and spaces on each space within 2 spaces of those spaces. Oh my goodness, man. I have to say spaces so many times, bro. That's crazy. I mean, it's not that hard to understand, but just the fact that I'm saying it is crazy. It's such a wacky thing to say. At the start of combat, so we have a start of turn, at the start of turn twice, and then at the start of combat, if she's alive, inflicts speed defense -5 on foe, deals true damage 20% of her speed, excluding AoEs, and also has no follow-up. So this skill is incredibly stacked. You have pass, you have the Deadly Miasma, haste terrain, you have the damage reduction piercing support for you and your teammates. You also give that you give the Divine Vein Haze, like I said, and you also have true damage and no follow-up. So crazy good B skill. Guidance 4, which is nothing new, but it's it's appreciated. Even though we do have more anti-warp tech, Guidance 4 is generally still one of the better C skills for flyers. So she has that supportive effect and can also hit extremely hard. So Camilla young Camilla just casually taking out Emblem Mike. Yeah, she's going to be insane. She has the Canto, the incredibly broken Canto, Trample. So yeah, Camilla is the real deal. Next up is little sister Elise, which is funny because, Elise is already such a young looking character and now she's even smaller. And this time she is I'm saying this time as if it's something new. She's still a colorless... Okay, why am I saying colorless? She's a staff cavalry unit, as if I'm saying there's colored staves or staves. Baton of Dusk is her weapon. Speed +3 enables Canto remaining minimum 1 and also has the Wrathful Staff built in. At the start of turn, if she's alive, grants attack speed +6, treachery, and special charge +1 per attack during combat to her allies and units, or to herself and her allies within 2 spaces of unit for 1 turn. This is great support. Treachery can be really strong. And at the start of combat, if she's alive again, grants bonus to all of her stats, same condition as Leo and Camilla, up to maximum 14, depending on the foes within 3 rows per column centered on unit. Deals true damage, 20% of her speed, and also has if calculates damage from staff like other weapons, effect is neutralized. Damage from staff is calculated after combat damage is added, and also has no follow-up in the weapon. So this is not inheritable, I think. Yeah, it doesn't have a plus, so this is her PRF. So pretty solid, because she is the 4-star special demote, seasonal demote. Return plus, we've seen that before. That is great. Healing special, obviously. Holy Panic, attack speed tidings. This is a new one. If unit initiates combat or is within 3 spaces of an ally, grants bonus to attack and speed equal to the number of allies within 3 spaces of unit times 2 plus 8, maximum 12. And foe cannot counterattack during combat. So there it is. There is the what is it called? I'm completely forgetting. Wrathful and Dazzling. Sorry, Dazzling staff effect. Even recovery 3, not bad. Even recovery and auto recovery used to be really meta, but for a demote, it's not too shabby, I suppose. So yeah, she's gonna be pretty annoying in her own right because she has that supportive effect, and being the smallest character here, it makes sense she's the demote. So Elise fans, you won with this one. I think what was her last alt? The one with Sakura, I think, a while back, which was also a staff cavalry unit. And then last but not least, we have the Korans as a duo. So this is funny whenever they do this because, technically speaking, they both shouldn't exist at the same time in the same world because, if one's going to exist, the other one isn't because it's one Koran. But they're duoing together here, and they're just going to casually tank Emblem Sickard. Dusk Stone, oh boy, this is a long one. -1 cooldown. Adaptive damage, of course. At the start of turn, at the start of enemy phase, except in summer duels, if unit is alive, grants a Draconic Hex to unit and allies within 2 spaces of unit, and if unit special cooldown count is at maximum value, you have the -1 cooldown, so you have Times Pulse. Draconic Hex, let's look at it real quick. Inflicts -5 on every stat on the foe during combat, and inflicts penalty on each of those stats equal to 5 minus the current penalty on each of those stats for 1 turn. So just further debuffs on people's stats. So that makes sense. And is, it's a simple effect, but it's going to help Koran, of course, just get those matchups and win. At the start of combat, if she's alive, or they're alive, should I say, inflicts penalty on foes' stats equal to the number of foes in 3 rows 3 column center on units, so the same as before. Maximum 14 if unit trigger savior value is treated as 14. Unit deals plus, actually, let me see, what is their movement type? They're armor, right? Yeah, they have to be armor, right? It says they are. Okay, so they're blue dragon armor. Okay. For a second, I thought they were infantry, so that's why it does say the savior condition here. So if unit trigger savior value is automatically 14, unit deals plus X flat damage output similar to Camilla's Y, excluding AoEs, and reduces damage from the foe's attacks by X during combat, excluding AoEs. X equals the number of allies in 3 spaces of unit, times 5, maximum of 15 if unit trigger savior value is automatically 15. And also if the foe's attack can trigger foe's special and unit's res is greater than or equal to the foe's res plus 5, you have the scowl effect. But actually, hold up. Inflict special. It's not just a scowl effect, I guess. Inflict special cooldown count +1 on the foe before foe's first attack. And if foe's first attack triggers the attack's twice effect, you have the brave effect. Inflict special cooldown count +1 on foe before foe's second strike as well. Wow. So this is something new. I don't think you've seen this before on the scowl effect. Usually, it ends there, but this is including the brave hit, which is nice because we have the Emblem Erica ring now, which gives you the brave hits, and that is going to be really useful against that. So yeah, that is crazy. And if she's alive again, or they're alive at the start of combat, and unit special cooldown count is a maximum value after combat, grant special cooldown count -1 to unit after combat. So really stacked weapon. Draconic Hex giving you further stats. You have the Scowl insurance against both hits, including brave hits. So that is really good. And then we have the Dragon Fang Fire as their special. This is 2 cooldown, so after the weapon is going to be pretty much at 1. Boost damage by 40% of units res when special triggers. If a skill, so you have this kind of phantom res effect right here. If units res is greater than the foe's res, reduces damage from attacks during combat and from AoEs by percentage difference between stats times X, max X times 10%. Wow, this is crazy, man. This is a new one, I think. If from area effect special, X equals 8 minus special cooldown count value. Otherwise, X equals 4 minus current special cooldown count value. Jeez. All right. That is, you just get more damage reduction, which is going to be flat. on top of the flat damage reduction you already get here. And if unit special is ready or unit special triggered during combat, reduces percentage of foes non-special reduced. So you have the damage reduction piercing, which has been all over this banner. And then after combat, if you're special triggered, you apply Divine Vein Water on target space and on each space within 2 spaces of target space for 1 turn. So this Divine Vein Water, I think it's only on Legendary Male Corrin. I think I almost forgot it was a Divine Vein effect because I think it's only on him. I could be wrong, but it's a pretty rare Divine Vein effect. I haven't really seen it much. So they get that here, which is nice. Primordial Boost. This looks like, you know, Deluge Boost, but it has more stats in it. Grants HP plus 5 if foe initiates combat, or if unit's HP is greater than or equal to 50% at the start of combat. You grant speed, defense, and res plus 9 to unit during combat, and you restore 7 HP after combat. So this is just a better... Well, actually, it doesn't have guard, so I can't say it's better than, you know, the other boost skills, the tier 3 boost skills, because this seems also like it's going to be Dragon exclusive. I'm not exactly sure. Let me check if it is, because Primordial sounds like a Dragon exclusive thing. So this is like, you know, the other boost skills. Let's see. Primordial Boost cannot used by infantry, cavalry, and flyer. So it's an armor only skill. Okay, so I don't think it's dragon locked, but it's armor only, so that makes sense. So you don't have the guard, but you do have more stats and 7 HP healing. Clever Fighter, which is going to be good for them because they're going to be really fast. This gives you flat damage reduction, no follow up, and yeah, it's going to make you even harder for the foe to follow up on you. And then Lower Ground, which we've seen before, to help you trigger Savior from that's a near save version, I think, right? Yeah, that's the near save version. So duo young baby Corrins coming in crazy. They're going to be definitely one of the better armor units for sure. They have the extra scowl effect and all kinds of stuff. They have Draconic Hex. They have the new Primordial Boost skill. Clever Fighter, they're going to be extremely fast. So yeah, they're going to be a pain to fight. So that is the duo. Actually, we haven't even seen their duo button. Let's see what that does. Duo skill grants the following status to unit and allies within 3 spaces of unit for 1 turn. Okay, so you you have this increase of speed difference, so you make it harder for the foes to follow up. And then Divine Vein Water to unit space and spaces within 3 spaces of unit for 2 turns, because why not? You already inflict it, and you can trigger it rather easily with your weapon and stuff, but why not having the duo skill? So yeah, that's pretty much the banner. So as you might be able to tell, Xander is actually the Tempest Trial unit, so he was left out. A little bit surprising, but you know, somebody I guess had to bite the bullet and become the Tempest Trial unit. So we'll have to see what kind of weapon Xander has. Hopefully it's a PRF and makes him good, because Elise is the demo and she has a PRF, so hopefully they don't do Xander dirty. You know, because young units, young child units, historically they've been pretty solid. You know, if you're the demote or the free unit, you know, they've had some good PRFs like Young Minerva, for example. So there is Xander right there. He's a sword cavalier this time, so at least he's different. Everyone else is pretty much in their same class types as expected, except for Xander. And I guess Corrin, you know, they're usually different colors. They picked blue this time, but Xander is actually different this time, which I appreciate. But yeah, that is the Fire Emblem Fates Young Child Banner. Fates, as you guys might know, is my least favorite Fire Emblem game overall, I'd say. Just, I don't really like the story that much, or I don't really vibe with a lot of the characters. There's a few characters I really like in Fates, but for the most part, it's a Fire Emblem I'm not really that attached to, so I'm not too excited for this banner. But for those who are, good luck on your summons for sure. Elise is a really good demoted healer you can get, and healer stocks have been going up since we've gotten all these healing skills, and like Legendary Sakura is crazy. So yeah, Fates banner, it's cute, you know, I like the kids designs. Hopefully Xander is good, like I said. But yeah, if you guys are summoning, good luck on it. Leave a like if you enjoyed. Please stay safe out there. Peace out.